Welcome live to the Pontiac Silverdome, where they can both say go blue. Grand Ledge brings to town a team that is 12-1, while Eisenhower, perfect 13's been a lucky number for Ike. They are undefeated through 13 games, so these two squads combine 25-1 as they come to the Silverdome for the crown jewel of the championship weekend, the Division I championship finale. Grand Ledge on the field, a team that poured it on as the season went on, a team that's been together since they were kindergartners, and now looking to win a championship here in Pontiac. Fred McLeod, John Wangler with you. This place is going to be a rocking and rolling, and we're going to see the football put in the air by both teams. But as Grand Ledge is blessed with speed, and they are led by a Big Ten to be quarterback, Matt Bonet, who is really on target most of the time.
Well, Matt Bonet is, as you said, a Division I prospect. He's got a great arm. He's a lefty, so he's got a nice little tight spiral. He's thrown for over 1,600 yards. He's a tremendous prospect. He's really the key to that offense.
All right, for more on the pregame story here, let's send it down to the field to Mickey York. Mick. Moments away from the start of this football game, Bob Lansing in his 30th year at the helm at Utica Eisenhower brings his team back again to the Dome after a bitter pill to swallow a year ago, losing in the finals to Walled Lake Western. But a glittering record as a head coach, and Patrick O'Keefe brings his club in as an 8th-year head coach in football. He's been at baseball, though, for 32 years, where he's won a couple of state titles. All-state kicker Mike Grzywolski to kick it off. And we're ready. Derek Hall and John Hawkins, a pair of speedsters back, but Grzywolski drills it out of the end zone. And you can see why, indeed, he is a first-team All-State kicker. Both teams very quick on both sides of the football. At QB, Matt Bonet. He's headed to Iowa City as a Hawkeye. Tremendous leader, which you have to have from your quarterback. He can run as well as throw it, and he is a very busy man throughout the school year. Baseball and hoops to go with being the QB on a team that has landed in the state championship game. Aaron Hubbard, the lone setback. On a 1st and 10, call it to 20. Quickly Bonet to the air. Thrown behind the receiver, Tim George. Incomplete, John Tynan defending for Ike. Backs and receivers for Grand Ledge. Hall, Hubbard in the backfield. Joe Walscheid is an all-state tight end. Mitchell and George also pass catchers. Up front, pretty good size offensive line. A little bit bigger than Eisenhower's defensive front. And a halfback. Hall gets it to the outside, showing the speed. Derek Hall had a 70-yard touchdown a week ago in the semifinals to beat Clarkston. It was a clinching touchdown, and he shows the outside evasiveness. The D-line for Eisenhower, including Chris Hoover, who makes some plays in that secondary as well sometimes. You'll see him out there. John DiGiorgio, their all-state linebacker. And then a very alert and intercepted-minded secondary for the Eagles. 1st and 10 at the 33. Ike almost jumped, and they did. Flag goes flying. It'll cost Eisenhower 5. Shane Crotty jumped. Had an older brother who played in this championship game a year ago. Shane is only a sophomore.
Dead ball, defense, 5 yards.
Everybody a little antsy here in the beginning. Grand Ledge really is not going to be used to this quickness on the defense. I think this will be the first time they'll see a defense as quick as Eisenhower's.
And this may be one of the quickest offenses that Eisenhower, conversely, has seen this season. Ball at the 38 on a 1st and 5. Bonet again the handoff. Hall. Much running room that time. John DiGiorgio, along with Mike Efthamieu.
That time Eisenhower came with a little corner blitz there. Fred trying to shake things up a little bit. Grand Ledge picked it up well.
DiGiorgio has a knack, though. It doesn't have the greatest of speed, but a tremendous reader, and you'll see him fill hole after hole all game long. 2nd down and 4 now for the Comets. The pitch to Hall. Right side again. Gets by one tackler near the 45-yard line where Paul Fanone brings him down.
Coach Lansing had a great quote about DiGiorgio. They asked him how fast he was. He said he's just fast enough, whatever it takes.
Central Michigan is looking at him. So is Western. Not real big. It's 6'2", 203. But I'm telling you, the kid is a playmaker. First and 10 for Grand Ledge. They're used to tight games. All three of their final playoff games were decided by 3 or less. Bonet. Play action. They consume it. The Eagles defense getting to him. FMU, the sophomore, the first to greet him, along with DiGiorgio.
That time DiGiorgio was not fooled at all. He stayed in coverage and came up. Great sack there. Great reactions, great reading there by Giorgio. Reading his keys.
So a loss of 3 back to the 40 where it's 2nd down and 13 for Grand Ledge. Bonet to throw on the screen. But it was eaten alive on the pass to Joe Walshide. Silveri on the tackle. Joe, the biggest guy up front defensively for Eisenhower at 278 pounds.
Grand Ledge trying that little inside flanker screen, bringing him back against the formation. Eisenhower staying home and defensed it and read it very well. Stopped it for a short gain.
3rd and 11 now for Grand Ledge. Bonet has good size, 6'3", 210. Long count. Bonet flushed. Downfield. Broken up. I believe DiGiorgio got his hand on it. That's Joe. That's younger brother who's also their quarterback.
As you see, Bonet looking to the field. That time he rose. He rose to his strength, a left-handed quarterback. Great reaction there. Great reaction there by DiGiorgio to knock that pass down.
So Joe, who's not thrilled about playing quarterback because he really loves defense, playing the center field role there. Joe is back to receive this punt. Nick Sandy got a bad punt. Ball near midfield. Adam Carr recovers for Eisenhower. Actually, it was blocked.
Take a look at this block. First break here for Eisenhower. Coming off the right side there. That time the outside blocker went to the outside man, left a gap on the inside. He was able to scoot in. You always got to take the man on the inside, man closest to the punter.
And then Bob Lansing saying, all right, great field position. Carr bursting through, making the play for his ball club. Lansing about as likable a head coach as you'll meet. Very relaxed, and I think his team reflects it. Joe DiGiorgio at quarterback. Reading the play. He's got a very accurate and strong arm. And again, he's only a junior. Patrick O'Keefe.
Too many men on the field.
Yeah, he makes the 12. Actually, no reviewing of the play at the high school level. Although we do have it covered.
This is not baseball. You can't go out there and talk to the umpire.
Yeah, right. Which he's used to doing as the head baseball coach. 32 years he's been the baseball coach at Grand Ledge. I don't know if it was the spot of the ball.
Right.
They're placing it at the 46-yard line of Grand Ledge. Doesn't appear to be going Lansing's way right now.
Well, maybe.
I want to get this one sorted out. Grand Ledge is going to keep the football.
The ruling is of scrimmage, touched beyond the neutral zone by white, recovered by blue.
Wow. So a huge break for Grand Ledge.
Take a look now. Here it's blocked behind the line of scrimmage. Eisenhower looks like, well, we couldn't see on the replay, but
at any rate, the Comets keep the football.
Nice momentum switch for the Comets.
Boy, huge. And a blow to Eisenhower. They have to go back on D. Given the Hall. Stepped up. Silveri got him. All right, let's take another look at the recovery.
Grand Ledge definitely recovered that. It was touched by a good call. It was touched by Eisenhower.
Well, the Eagles were celebrating so much, I think everybody in the building assumed it was their football. Take one more peek at it. Touched by Eisenhower. Looks like it was down there, but
yep,
apparently not.
It squirted loose there at the end.
And that's what Bob Lansing was arguing about.
Yep.
Appeared to be down. So a break for Grand Ledge. Bonet goes opposite. He's a lefty. Throwing underneath. Caught. Near the first down marker. Ryan Mitchell hauled it in. Another big senior target.
Nice job by Bonet there, rolling to his right as a left-handed quarterback. Fakes a bootleg and gets his shoulders squared there. Does a very good job. Gets his feet squared, his shoulders around. Throws a little behind, but very, very good catch. Reaching back with guys all over.
So it'll be spotted at the 46-yard line. You see Mitchell's numbers this season. Pretty good per reception average. Ball given off the Hall. Tripped up from behind. DiGiorgio got him first. John Tynan finished it off. Now they continue to talk a little smack. But it's going to be a first down for the Comets. Grand Ledge saw plenty of tape on DiGiorgio. They know what he's about. DiGiorgio had a stellar game in the semifinals against longtime nemesis Detroit Catholic Central.
What do you have, about 20-some tackles there, Fred?
Sure did, 28.
And then Tynan had a great game, too, the defensive back. Both those two were in on the play, previous play.
Well, John DiGiorgio is cut, so he's going to have to come off and get it patched up. Ryan Phillips will take over for a play or two. DiGiorgio never comes out of a football game, so Phillips rushed in there.
He'll get that taped up real quick.
First and 10 at the 43. Bonet, quick drop. Could not have made the rush. He is wrapped up quickly by Ethan Muir.
That time Grand Ledge went into a spread offense. It looked like coming up here, they spread the field against Eisenhower's 4-3 defense. Tried a little quarterback draw. Eisenhower stopped it for a no gain.
So John DiGiorgio back in the ball game, missing one play. Maybe the only play he misses today. He's also a running back for him. Second and 11 after a 1-yard loss at the 44. Showing blitz. Here it comes. The screen. Perfect call. But it's gobbled up again by that Ike defense. DiGiorgio and Fanone put him away after a gain of 3.
Watch him read. We'll take a look here. Watch DiGiorgio read this screen. That is a tremendous reaction. They were coming with the blitz. He stayed home. Was not fooled at all. Great call against a perfect defense. 2 good football plays there.
Because reading can make up maybe for a lack of blazing speed, don't you think?
Oh, really? You know, they talk about game speed, and that makes a huge difference.
So it's 3rd and 9. Bonet in a passing situation. Single setback. Going to his left. Underneath. Caught, but there's a flag. It would be first down if it's against Eisenhower. Tim George on the reception.
Second time Grand Ledge has gone back to that slant route off a 3-step drop. That really looks like one of Bonet's favorites. He's got great concentration. He can really deliver that ball quickly on that 3-step drop.
It's going to go against Grand Ledge and negate the first down. Offensive pass interference will be the call. I watch the top of your screen here. Really a pick play.
Offensive pass interference. Also a loss of down.
So a costly mistake for O'Keefe and company. Patrick may be wondering, as we are, where the infraction was.
That was a tough call.
So 2 disputed calls, 1 going each way. And it's 4th and 18. Again, a punting situation for Grand Ledge. Nick Sandy will put it away.
He's got a great leg, Fred. 40-yard average for high school.
Take that. Joe DiGiorgio, the single return man for Eisenhower. Sandy a low liner. Room for DiGiorgio. Evades one tackler, but it's going to be either a block in the back. DiGiorgio will go, but I think this is coming back. He'll go about 80 yards, but like he had a year ago in a championship game, a big play that's called back. Joe just now finding out.
Got a little extra exercise for the afternoon.
He'll get enough running as a quarterback and a DB in this one.
Clip on the run back. First down.
Here it is. You take a look.
Bang, as the punter got his bell rung. And so Eisenhower will go back a few. No 80-yard touchdown return. We're scoreless in some key flags against both teams so far, but watch the block in the back. Right there. Brian Phillips, the guilty party, as he blocked Matt Cook in the back, bringing the football back to the 14-yard line where Joe DiGiorgio will go to work. Trips to the far side of the field. Ball given to Hoover, their main horse. Drags a tackler with him across the 20-yard line. Dan Soddy brought him down. But Joe DiGiorgio, in his junior year, very evasive. And, of course, we talked about the brotherly love. He and John, he's got big brother in the backfield, along with Hoover, 1,000-plus yard rusher. Tynan and Thurman, as well as Hartman, have great speed and are game breakers. 8-yard pickup for Eisenhower. 2nd and 2 at the 22. 2 setbacks. Ball given to Hoover again. Follows his blockers around the right side. Gets across the 25. First down for the Eagles. Grand Ledge has a very active defensive front. Joe Wolscheid is their all-state tight end. He also plays defensive end. He's the leader of that unit. Linebackers, brother Mike Wolscheid, a part of that trio. And the DBs, Esper, Holben, and the coach's son, Colin O'Keefe. 1st and 10, Utica Eisenhower at their own 28. Ball given up to John DiGiorgio. Takes a big pop. He was met head on in there by Nick Sandy. Kept it alive, though, at least getting out to the 30.
Take a look here, just a straight ISO dive. Big pop there on the inside. DiGiorgio keeping his feet moving. Takes 4 or 5 tacklers to bring him down inside.
But Sandy laid a lick on him. One tough yard for John DiGiorgio.
It's 2nd and 9 for the Eagles ball.
John's numbers this year really giving away to Hoover as their main running threat. DiGiorgio flips it out to brother John, trying to create some space, but barely gets past the line of scrimmage. May have picked up a yard or two where Steve Dick wrapped him up. Gain of 1.
Just a little swing pass there to brother John. Takes a little jab step, buys some yardage. They tried to set it up out there. Good penetration by Grand Ledge. They weren't fooled. The pursuit got him. Very well defensive play.
Just wondered if John was even thinking about throwing. You could see his body language looking up the field, but nothing developing at all. 3rd and 7 for the Eagles. And a flag.
Dead ball in the neutral zone. White.
Well, you knew that was coming. They lined up offsides.
Uncharacteristic mistake for Bob Lansing's team, which is normally very disciplined, especially with a senior-laden ball club. Cost him 5. Brings up 3rd and 12 now. DiGiorgio, like Bonet, though, has a gun. Tynan split ride to the right. DiGiorgio flushed. Has to throw it up. Hoping for a prayer. Almost picked off. Colin O'Keefe was back there in the coverage. And DiGiorgio actually fortunate it wasn't picked up.
He really was. What?
Well, the penalty hurt him. And then Joe took a pop.
Looked like he tried a little pump and run, or pump and go there. They were in a too-deep coverage, and he really had no shots. So they had to break the route. That's why it took a little longer, and consequently he took the shot, and it was fortunate for them it was incomplete.
Jason Croft, a pretty good punter. For Eisenhower, almost had that one blocked. Pulled in by Hawkins. John Hawkins to the near side of the field. Jitterbugging, banged down at the 45. So, timeout on the field. Defense ruling early against these two offensive teams at the Silverdome.
Boys basketball finals at the Lansing State Event Center in East Lansing on March 28th.
We're scoreless in the Dome. Late first quarter, Division I championship game. Well, next weekend, it's more state title excitement. All 4 classes of the girls basketball finals from Mount Pleasant. Coverage begins next Saturday at 11 a.m. only on Fox Sports Net, your exclusive television home of the MHSAA football and basketball championships. Grand Ledge keeping it on the ground. Derek Hall was consumed quickly. Hit first by Tynan.
Keep an eye on Tynan. He makes a ton of tackles coming out of that defensive back position. He really, for a little guy, comes up there and sticks.
John is also opportunistic when it comes to fumbles. He's recovered 6. That's a lot for a defensive back this season. He was here a year ago as a junior starter when they lost. Pitch. Mike Holden, the ball carrier. Gets out to midfield with a 5-yard pickup. You're seeing Grand Ledge with a depth factor, which will help them. A lot of running backs they'll throw at you. They have 5 or 6 guys that get a lot of time. Under minute to play in this first half, or first quarter rather. So it's 3rd down and 5 for the Comets. Grand Ledge aided by that one penalty call, helping them in the time of possession department. Bonet to throw. Swings it out. First down. Steve Dick, the receiver. And he nudged enough to move the chains.
Excellent call there by Grand Ledge. Nice job by Bonet. That's a tough pass to throw, that little swing pass, because you have to throw at 2 levels. You have to throw it down the field and out the field. Here you see DiGiorgio coming sideline to sideline, making a big play.
He came from the middle of the field to make that tackle, but not quite in time, as Dick was able to pick up the first down. We have played 1 quarter of high school state championship football here at the Dome. You see the speed, the tempo pick up, but right now it's been all defense. We're scoreless after 1 on Fox Sports Net. We're still looking for our first points of this Division I finale. We start the second quarter. Let's show you how these teams got here. Grand Ledge with a 2-point win over Brighton, beat Rockford by 3, and then Clarkston by 2. And meanwhile, Eisenhower had to win their game over Detroit Catholic Central by 1. Road to the finals brought to you by Little Caesars. Ball at the 44. Bonet on the roller. Across the break, batted down by Joe DiGiorgio.
Great break on the ball that time. Grand Ledge going with a naked boot. As you can see, a little ball fake. He comes out there naked to his strong side. Watch the closing break there by Joe DiGiorgio. Tremendous. Great reaction there.
Pass was intended for Ryan Mitchell. Second down and 10. At the 44. Ball given off to Hall. Dances inside, but into the grasp of Crotty. Gets short of the 40-yard line, a pickup of 3. Derek Hall's numbers, a gaudy near 8 yards per carry average, just shy of 1,000. He's got plenty of speed. Third down and 7 call now for the Comets. Aaron Hubbard has replaced Hall in the backfield. Showing blitz is Eisenhower. Bonet steps up. Intercepted. Jeff Hartman. Still on his feet. Needs some blockers. He could go. There goes Hartman. Goodbye. Touchdown, Eisenhower. 76 yards. He had an 80-yard touchdown reception a week ago as a pass receiver. Almost matched it with a pick.
What a run.
How about that for a piece of ad-libbing?
Take a look here. Trying to slip it in that time, Bonet. He was double coverage. Eisenhower in their 2-deep defense. They both converged, both the safety and the corner. Hartman making a great pick and then showing tremendous running ability. Cuts across the grain and then it's off to the races.
Hartman, in fact, had 1 in the playoffs, so he now has 6 INTs for the year. Putting Eisenhower on the board. Grozwowski to tack on the point after. 7-0 Eagles. Oh, the satisfaction of getting it done. Great hands and even better feet for the young man. Shelby Township is loving it right now. Well, I don't know French, but I do know this deja vu for the Eagles of Eisenhower. Turn the clock back a year ago. 0-0 game between Eisenhower and Walled Lake Western. Up steps DiGiorgio, wearing number 49 at that stage, and Joe takes it to the house. 7-0 Eisenhower. Later in that game, DiGiorgio with the D picks up another one, but this one was called back, and Bob Lansing to this day says a penalty shouldn't have been called on that block. That one didn't count, the first one did. And DiGiorgio, now the quarterback these days, is the starting man under center. So again, 7-0 Eagles as they go back on defense, and Hall on a touchback. Again, Grozwolski pounding it into the end zone. And the Comets will have to start from their own 20.
First and 10 at their own 20.
See if Joe can keep all of his letters on his jersey this time around.
He was missing that first one there last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he lost a D. Although he is on D. This is really where he loves to play. Bonet, he's QB all the way. In fact, really only one two-way player that starts both ways for Grand Ledge, and that's Walshide, the tight end. Oh, good burst that time. Boy, did he hit that hole quickly. Gets across the 25. Paul Fanone rode him down. But a pickup of 7.
Take a look at Hall. They're getting low. Splitting the seam there, coming out the other end. Nice hole, very nice hole opened up by the offensive line there.
2nd and 3 at the 28 of Grand Ledge. Movement up front, and that'll cost the Comets 5. Vince Riggs is the man who moved.
This is really a big drive here for Grand Ledge after coming off that sudden change, them taking it back for a touchdown. We'll see what Bonet's made of. He's a Big Ten Division I type quarterback.
Offense.
It's how you react coming off of a play like that that's really going to tell the tale.
So it means a 2nd and 7 now. Fanone showing blitz, so Bonet keeps it. But a flag is down. That was an ad-lib by Bonet there.
It was a nice read by Bonet.
Dead ball, encroachment, defense.
So Eisenhower gives it right back. Fanone was in the neutral zone. Well, 2 Division I players, both Big Ten. Bonet, number 1, the quarterback, headed to Iowa. And Walshide is going to be a Northwestern tight end. I don't have to tell you about Walshide's grades to tell you he's going to Evanston. A lot of gray matter under that helmet. Bonet, short yardage situation, slant to Walshide. Showing why he's going to be a Wildcat. Gets it across the 40 to the 45. Chris Hoover rode him down. Walshide a little slow to get up.
Well, again, going back to that favorite slant, you can see why both those guys are going to be playing in the Big Ten next year. Just a 3-step job, throwing to his right. Did a nice job squaring his shoulders. Walshide did a good job hanging on in traffic and coming across the middle. That really shows a lot of courage. That's why he's going to be playing up there with the Wildcats.
He's a big one, 6'7", 250. 1st and 10, Comets at the 45. Ball given off the Hall. Dances across midfield. Crotty brought him down.
Hall again
with Sarah
doing a nice job on those ISOs, staying low and scooting through those little cracks.
Another 5-yard pickup. Walshide getting the play call for Grand Ledge. Ball sitting at the 50. 2nd and 4. One-step drop. Quick pass underneath to Paul Mitchell. But he was wrapped up immediately by the DiGiorgio brothers and Jeff Hartman. John and Joe used to play soccer as kids. They played a lot of baseball, but as they grew up first in East Detroit, it was tough to play football on the street, so they would play touch football together. And ultimately wound up playing on a team that has gone to the state championship now in back-to-back years. 3rd down 3 for Grand Ledge. 4 wideouts on this set. quick drop. Almost picked off. Joe DiGiorgio got a good piece of that one. And I'm telling you, he'd have taken it back.
I tell you, he has got some instincts. You saw earlier that great play that he batted down. He read that one. That time, Benet made a little mistake. They were in a two-slot formation, double slot, and Eisenhower rolled up in their two deep covers. They tried to do that little stop route, and DiGiorgio just sat on it.
So Benet, 6 for 11 so far, but only 38 yards. And I'm sure they knew, looking at tape, the coverage ability and skills that Eisenhower has, specifically in the deep secondary with their safety. Nick Sandy to punt it for Grand Ledge. Joe DiGiorgio is back. Floating kick goes out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. About the 24-yard line, so Eisenhower will take over. And their points have come from the defense. Off the scintillating 78-yard touchdown return by Jeff Hartman off the interception. I mentioned before that Grand Ledge only has one two-way player, whereas Eisenhower has 6, including that man, John DiGiorgio, who now straps it on to run the football.
We're going to take a look at that in the second half, too, and that may be a factor as it starts to wear down.
Maybe the offense will open up a little bit for Grand Ledge. 1st and 10, ball up to 24. Hand off to John DiGiorgio, following his blockers. Turns the corner, has some room to the outside, near midfield. Stays on his feet, squirms to the 46-yard line, but a huge pickup of 29 for John D.
Just a classic power sweep. Vince Lombardi would have been proud of that one. Take a look. Just a power sweep to the field. You got the guard out in front of him. Look at DiGiorgio reading his blocks, following his blockers, setting up the defenders, making a great cutback here. You're not going to arm tackle Big John.
Adam Carr and Conrad Gummel threw key blocks for DiGiorgio. 1st and 10 at the Grand Ledge 46. Ball given to Hoover, near side, has a blocker in front, and he's ridden down from behind. Great play by Nick Sandy. Backside pursuit big time there.
This is the same play to the opposite side of the field with Hoover. That time Grand Ledge was not fooled at all. They were ready. Good penetration. They got him from the backside pursuit.
Sandy just a junior. Made an upperclassman kind of play there, didn't he? 2nd and 11. Ball given to Hoover again, and he is met head on by a sea of blue. Sauty the first to get him. Steve Dick pounded him, and then his pals came in behind.
Great penetration there by Sauty. Take a look.
Well, in the semifinal game against Catholic Central, Eisenhower wasn't moving the football at all on the ground, and then just like a lightning bolt, DiGiorgio hit an 80-yard bomb to Hartman for the first touchdown, then came back the next series with a couple of key passes, threw another TD pass to Tynan.
Here's the first time we've seen the shotgun.
3rd and 13. DiGiorgio lines it on the money, and it's caught by Hoover. First down, big-time throw by Joe DiGiorgio, and Hoover had to hang on.
That's a great call right there. Take a look. Out of the shotgun, DiGiorgio getting that sweet spot in the middle. Hoover does a very nice job settling in the middle there. Look and find the sweet spot. He holds on, almost gets ripped out, but he hangs on and comes down with a huge first down catch.
Colin O'Keefe made that hit, but Hoover stayed with it. DiGiorgio threw that one on a string. 1st and 10 now at the 34. DiGiorgio, quarterback draw. Sandy, though, got him. They have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, but that's it. I think these two teams have scouted each other pretty well, John.
You can tell they're both very well coached. And you got two heavyweight contenders slugging it out.
But no disservice to the smaller division schools, but there's just a little difference in tempo, slight difference in skill level at this stage of the weekend, don't you think?
And a lot of difference in size.
2nd and 11 at the 35. Tynan in motion. DiGiorgio against a blitz. Throws underneath. Flag is down on the incompletion. It was thrown in the backfield. We may have a hold. Wolscheid nailing Hoover, but it's going to cost Eisenhower on the hold.
Take a look off the backside there. Yeah, that time here, you can take another angle here. Look on the left side of the screen. I think we're going to get him there. Coming in there off the side there. It's tough to see.
Offense. Still 2nd down.
And at the spot of the foul. So it's going to cost Eisenhower 21 yards, shoving them back to their own 44-yard line.
Well, you got to give those linemen credit. They're doing whatever they got to do to protect Joe D. So, hey, every now and then that's going to happen, you know. That's why they wear those white gloves, so they can get them caught up in the jerseys.
Didn't work that time. Too much pass rush on Rush. We'll take a timeout. Eisenhower with the ball, leading by 7.
Visit the Southgate Vendors section 105.
7-0. Utica Eisenhower with the lead. Latter stages of quarter number 2. More football to follow, of course. Our 3rd game of the day will be the Division 5 finale as Spring Lake takes on Jackson Lumen Christi. Join Matt Shepard, Rob Rubick, and Trevor Thompson for all the action starting at 5 p.m. only here on Fox Sports Net, the exclusive television home of the MHSAA Football and Basketball Championships. 2nd and only 31. DiGiorgio caught from behind by Steve Dick.
Great pressure applied there by Grand Ledge. Eisenhower in their shotgun. They had the field spread. That time DiGiorgio had no one to throw to. He was pressured early. Excellent play there.
So it'll bring up a 3rd and a mile. Ball at the 39. DiGiorgio just thinking now he doesn't want to throw it away. To the air, airing it out. Long bomb intended for Brother John, well covered. And the Eagles will have to kick it.
Take a look here. This was my 3rd and a mile play. I'm going to throw it up the field, and if I get intercepted, I don't care. But I don't want my quarterback to take a beating like that.
He was on an island there, and he got popped. Jason Croft will punt it away for Eisenhower. Hall and Hawkins are deep for the Comets. Good high boot. That's Hall inside his 30. Evades a couple of tacklers, gets out to the 35-yard line, where Grand Ledge will take over. Hall with that kind of speed, you'd think he might be a Division I prospect. So Grand Ledge now hoping to get some offensive thrust going. They haven't been able to really mount much of a passing attack so far. A lot of the short stuff. I would imagine they'll try to spread the field here a little bit, John.
Yeah, they have a few minutes here, and they're going to try and at least get something up on the board before halftime.
High formation behind the quarterback. Double reverse. Still on his feet across midfield. Chad Esper, the ball carrier. And a little trickery seeming to fool Utica Eisenhower a little bit.
Nice little reverse.
19-yard gain.
Tremendous move there by Esper. Take a look here. We got the quarterback, Bonet, out there running the interference. Watch this move coming around. The first guy here, great kick out block there. Look at that move there. Here it is. Nice. Great move. Great call.
So Grand Ledge now into Utica Eisenhower territory. Bonet looking upfield. Has a man out of bounds. Intended for Tim George.
Nice try. It was a hook and go there. They tried an out and up. Utica wasn't fooled. That's a good call regardless, because it forces those guys to be honest, and they know that they're going to attack the levels and go after them. So either way, that's a good call.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about. Just opening up the field a little bit. Kenneth Wilson was on the coverage for the Eagles. Brings up a 2nd and 10. 4 wide receivers in this package. Bonet, though, gives it underneath to Aaron Hubbard. Not much running room there as Mike Cosenza clogged it up, along with Paul Fanone. Cosenza, backup nose tackle.
This would be a good time to try to get the ball to Wolscheid on that slant again. That was very effective earlier in the first quarter. They're spreading the field again with their double slot.
The defense will take that in 2 for 6 third down conversions. Bonet needs 9 yards. Steps up, chase from behind. Good ball fake, stays on his feet. First down for the Comets. Inside the 30-yard line. Matt Bonet with some ad-libbing. Brought down by Fanone and Serra. But he gets it inside the 30.
Take a look here. Wolscheid up the field doing just a takeoff route. It looks like he was trying to get to him late. Kept great composure, broke a couple tackles. Real athletic move, fighting for that extra yardage.
And a timeout for Grand Ledge after the 13-yard gainer by Bonet.
Bonet known more for his passing. He's just doing a fine job scrambling there and picking up that key first down to get these guys into good field position.
And obviously a leader here. Coming up at halftime, we'll be hearing from both coaches, Bob Lansing and Patrick O'Keefe. We'll recap the entire weekend. So if you didn't get a chance to see yesterday's outstanding games, we'll have the highlight wrap. And of course, we'll be taking a look at some numbers from this first half. Roddy coming back in. Sometimes you expect that carpet turf burn, so you got to play it tough. Guys aren't used to that.
No, it's a little more abrasive than that nice soft grass that we have in Michigan in November.
Well, Utica Eisenhower last week played at Birmingham Groves. They've got the artificial turf, but it's that soft, pliable stuff. Has a lot more cushion than the carpet here. First down, 10 at the 29. Grand Ledge's first opportunity to really score. Quarterback sneak on the draw. Flag is down. Serra ate him up.
Looks like a face mask.
Face mask.
It'll be a hold on Grand Ledge. I would think the Eagles will take this one.
Right.
Holding, offense, 10 yards. First down.
So they'll march it back now to the 41. Third penalty assessed to the Comets. Coming up in a minute and a half to play on a 1st and 21 call for Bonet. Pressure, throws off the fingertips of his intended receiver, Steve Dick.
Nice play to get rid of that ball by Bonet.
But just about every time that Bonet has tried to throw to a receiver, there's been a white shirt around him. Bonet right now 6 of 13 throwing, just 38 yards. He's been picked off once. Second and 21. Bonet, quick drop, slants it inside, caught by Matt Cook. Joe DiGiorgio on the tackle.
They're going into the hurry-up offense. Bonet going to his quick slant, his favorite pass play that time to Cook. Now they're getting lined up with their double slot, trying to spread the Eisenhower defense.
3rd and 12. Need to get to the 20. Whistle goes down as Bonet takes a hard rap. After the whistle had blown, that's a free shot.
Those defensive players like that.
Josephac is the one who hit him.
Ball start. Offense.
So it'll cost him 5. Third down, 17. Under a minute to play in this half. 4th penalty assessed to Grand Ledge. Pass pressure. Here comes Josephac. Bonet got away from him. Gets away from DiGiorgio. Throws back upfield. Knocked away. Intercepted out of the air off the deflection by Robert Serra. A defensive end.
We got a flag.
I think Bonet may have been past the line of scrimmage.
That's a tough throw. That's a tough throw. You throw it across the grain there, back into traffic. We'll listen to the referee.
Exactly what it was. They won't take it. Obviously, they want the football. And so the Eagles, with 32 seconds left, get it back on the 2nd Grand Ledge turnover.
Take a look here. Bonet under great pressure. Makes a couple moves. Nice ball fake there on DiGiorgio, but he was obviously past the line of scrimmage.
So Eisenhower takes over now. Whistle blows it dead. At the 23.
Well, half the team's going in the locker room, Fred. The other half staying on the field.
Bob Lansing's content, I think, to take a 7-0 lead to the dressing room. He wants that clock to tick away the remaining seconds. And indeed, the Eagles will talk about it. Well, 2 very good offenses here, as advertised, but maybe even 2 better defenses. Both teams up to the challenge against passing games. And only 1 touchdown scored in the first half, that belonging to the gang from Shelby Township. Lead.
Well, look at the time of possession there. Obviously, Grand Ledge really has held the football, almost doubled Eisenhower's time of possession. And then you got the 2 turnovers for Grand Ledge as opposed to none by Eisenhower.
Our halftime.
The Silverdome, Grand Ledge head coach Patrick O'Keefe. Your team trails by 7. What did you talk about at halftime?
Well, we just talked about taking advantage of. We moved the ball well in the first half. It had nothing to show for it, so we got to come out this half and put some points on the scoreboard.
All right, Coach. Best of luck to you in the second half. Fred, back upstairs to you. It should be a good one.
All right, Mick. Giorgio will receive this kickoff from Sandy. Bouncing behind DiGiorgio. Across the 20. Made something out of nothing, as it turned out, across the 25-yard line, where Brad Krause made the stop for the Comets. First half possessions for Ike. Had to punt the football, and of course then downing it in only 3 first-half possessions.
That's pretty telling there, isn't it? Just
Sure
getting
is.
the ball 3 times and then 1 at the ending with the half.
So in that regard, they've got to feel very happy to be up 7-0. 1st and 10 at the 25. Naked bootleg. Joe DiGiorgio gets to the outside. Picks up about 5 or 6 yards where Mike Wolshai rode him out of bounds. Gain of 6.
Nice way to open up the second half here. Just a naked boot using the athletic ability of Joe D there. Coming out there, making something, picking up 6 yards on first down. You'll take that anytime.
That should give him 7, so it's a 2nd and 3 call. Off the shotgun. DiGiorgio, inside handoff to John DiGiorgio, stays on his feet. Gets near the first down marker. May have been a little bit shy. Getting up slowly, too. Steve Dick and Patrick Hartlett got him.
Take a look there. Right there, Joe making a nice cut. John making a nice cut there as he goes down. His leg getting bent back right there.
Well, you think hyperextension in these situations as he's
Ouch.
bent back.
Look at his ankle. Look at his right ankle and
Oh, my.
right leg.
Oh, what a costly blow it would be. To the sideline. 1st and 10. Ball given off to Hoover. Turns the corner. Stays in bounds. Look at Hoover go. Down to the 30-yard line where he is finally brought down by Patrick Hartlett. 34 yards.
You talk about a guy going down, another one stepping up. That's why you got a 1,000-yard back there in Hoover. Take a look at this one. Just a classic power sweep. Again, pulling the guards, getting out in front. Watch him set up these blocks here. Now, listen, right to the sideline there, makes a great cutback on the defensive back there. Gets inside. Another great inside cut, keeping his feet moving, getting that extra yardage.
So they spot it at the 31 after the big gobble up by Hoover. Life must go on for the Eagles without their leader. Double reverse. It's Tynan. Gets a block. Ducks inside, but he's met head on. And a loss of a couple of yards.
Well, their warrior goes down and kind of sparks that offense. They start to open it up a little bit. Comes out with a little reverse off of the big play. They're in great field position. They're going to do what they have to do until Big John gets back.
If DiGiorgio is not able to come back, where his absence would really be felt would be on the defensive side of the football. Not that they don't miss him here, but they do have other running options. 2nd down 11 at the 32 of Grand Ledge. Hoover, sweep to the left, gets a crunching block. Carr laid out the block, but they also strung it out, did Grand Ledge, Matt Cook, and Adam Carr there as well. They're still working on to Georgia. Let's go down to Mickey York.
Yeah, guys, the good news is nothing appears to be broken, but they're paying a lot of attention to his lower shin, his calf, and his right knee. He's been up on it a couple of times, but he appears to be more angry than anything. You know he wants to get back in this football game, but we'll let you know more when we find out. Fred, back upstairs to you.
All right, the final game of John DiGiorgio's high school career while younger brother Joe goes to work under center. 3rd down and 11. DiGiorgio throws. Open man over the middle. It's Hartman. Down near the 20. May have gotten the first down. He had to fight for yardage with Colin O'Keefe. And it depends on the spot. But it looks to me like he got it.
Great call there by Eisenhower. Just a little delay to Hartman. As you can see, a 5-step drop. Does a nice job looking off. Dumps it as the middle clears. The linebackers are back. Hartman does a great job settling in that sweet spot in the middle. Excellent call. Great play.
So a vitally important measurement now for both teams. I'm going to say by the length of a football, maybe. Maybe a little football. First down. How about by the nose?
That wouldn't even be a mini football there, Fred.
but Bob Lansing will take it. At the 21-yard line. Big time first down pickup for the Eagles.
Deepest penetration here for Utica.
Ball given off to Hoover. Cuts it back. Burst of speed. Muscles his way down to the 10 where O'Keefe finally brings him down. But another first down for Ike.
Take a look at that offensive line sweeping to the left there. Look at these guys get out in front of O'Keefe. Or Hoover, excuse me. Great play, hard-nosed running, tremendous blocking. They're really starting to move the defensive line of Grand Ledge back. These guys are really starting to dominate the line of scrimmage.
Silverian, Gummel, Hubbard, Carr, and Rush up front for Utica Eisenhower. Ball given off to Hoover the other way. Strung out pretty well, though. Dances inside the 10 where he is met head on.
Just power football. Power sweep right, power sweep left.
Mike Walshide laid the lick gun. But Hoover can flat out run, boy.
Look at those two guards getting out in front, setting up his blocks. Good hard running, makes a guy miss. Just power football. That's the way Coach Lansing loves it.
So it's 2nd down and 7. The Eagles could get a first down without getting into the end zone, so that's important to remember. Past the 4-minute mark, gone in quarter number 3. Naked bootleg again. DiGiorgio cuts it inside the 5, hangs on to the football. No, he didn't. Puffs loose. Grand Ledge football at the 2-yard line. Huge break for the Comets. Steve Dick is the one who dislodged it, I believe. And then he recovered it.
A naked bootleg there by Joe DiGiorgio. Nice fake, gets outside there. He's on his own. They're just going to use his athletic ability. Here he is fighting for the extra yard. Right there, you got a helmet on the ball. It comes loose. Grand Ledge ball.
So the Comets dodge a major bullet. I mean, Eisenhower was ready to march that thing in. Instead, it's 1st and 10 at the 2. And then Eisenhower with an unforced error. Joe Silveri jumped. That'll bump it out to the 7.
Dead ball.
Let's get an update from Mickey York.
First down.
All right, guys, unfortunately, the news has worsened for Mr. DiGiorgio. They think he may have broken his right fibula. They're going to tape it up. He's going to try and walk around on that. If that doesn't get the job done, they're going to take him in for x-rays, but that's what they fear right now. Fred?
As they continue to tape it. And again, this is where they will miss him the most. The all-time leading tackler in Eisenhower history. Squirting out of the scrum is Derek Hall. John Tynan finally brought him down.
I'll tell you, Hall, he does a great job of keeping his shoulders low, keeping his knees moving. He comes out the other end on those big piles. He's not that big of a guy, but he keeps coming out the other end of those piles.
So the Comets on the move, getting it out to the 16. 1st and 10. Eisenhower looking for some kind of break. Unfortunately, they may have gotten the wrong kind. Ball given off to Hall again. Cuts it back across the 20-yard line. 5-yard gain again.
Take a look here at the replay. Watch Hall try. Look at him. Great play. Nice cutback by Hall, but tremendous popping out there. That defense is flying around. Those guys know they got to pick up the tempo with their leader on the sidelines.
Daniel Kuzaleski is the one who lowered the boom on the blocker. Taking off a knee brace down there. 2nd and 5 at the 16. Bonet goes up top, has a man. juggled out of bounds. Incomplete, intended for Tim George.
Nice defense there by Joe D. Take a look here. Joe's beaten, but he watches the man. He sees when his eyes get big there. He knocks him loose. Joe did a great job as a defensive back. Watching when that receiver's eyes got big, he saw it, and he made a play on the ball and knocked him out of bounds and knocked the ball out.
They continue to test the right leg of John DiGiorgio. Joe inadvertently stepping on the arm there of Tim George. Watch there. Good thing he wasn't wearing normal football cleats. Double reverse. Flea flicker. Oh, he's wide open. George, if he catches it, he got 6. Falls down. But a long bomb completed by the Comets. The Eagles completely bit on the double reverse. 46 yards for Grand Ledge.
Well, it's the second day in a row, Fred. We've seen that flea flicker be effective. Yesterday with Brother Rice hitting that big pass on the 3rd play of the game. Here Grand Ledge goes back. They were fooled completely.
Nobody within 15 yards of him.
All he had to do was stand up. The one thing you teach your cornerbacks, they got to stay home. They have got this. They can't take a peek in there. They're completely fooled on that reverse. They float, overreacted.
1st and 10 at the 33. Bonet to Hall. Wrapped up. Couple of yards. Robert Serra got him by the legs. Grand Ledge has gone to 6 different pass catchers in this ball game. And you gotta wonder if the depth factor is going to wear down the Eagles eventually.
Well, especially when you got Joe out.
Mr. DiGiorgio now over to check on the condition of John. Frank obviously wearing the worry that any parent would have. Toss. Not much happening there for the Comets. All was brought down inside the 30 though. Adam Carr and brother Joe DiGiorgio on the stop.
That was a great play by Joe coming up from his quarterback position, forcing the action inside and allowing him to make that tackle.
5 yards on the pickup. What a gut-wrenching situation for Frank. Wants dearly to win a football game with one of his sons out there, Joe, but of more import, the physical condition of his son, John. Part of the drama of a high school state football championship. Bonet in some trouble. Has a man. Touchdown, Comets. Tim George stayed on his feet that time. 28 yards on the dart.
Great play, great call. A big-time throw by Bonet.
And again, a defensive breakdown in the secondary for the Eagles.
Here you take a look. A naked boot rolling to the field. You got a left-handed quarterback rolling to the right, throwing back across his body, across the field. Just a tremendous athletic play by a big-time quarterback.
The Comets nearly went the length of the field on a 98-yard march, and they wind up doing it in 7 plays. Nick Sandy for the important PAT. We are tied at 7. Well, the Eagles have to fight back, not only from this touchdown, but also the possibility of playing the rest of the game without their spiritual and emotional leader. There's now 2. Each team has now coughed it up a couple of times, maybe the turning point, as Joe DiGiorgio loses the football when they were knocking on the door. Comets took over at their own 2, resulting in this. Bonet against his body to a wide open receiver again. And this time George comes up with it. Look at the pain all over the face of John as he knows he just cannot go. What a tough scene.
I'll tell you, if there's ever a guy who wants to be out there.
It's just swelling. One way to ease his pain would be for the Eisenhower Eagles to come through with a victory. But they have to do it without him. Kickoff is short. Hoover has it. Turns his shoulders upfield across the 30. Well, the DiGiorgio brothers, of course, as close as any brothers could be. And obviously the fact that they can play football with each other, it's as good as it gets.
It's like we're best friends and we're just playing together, like how, you know, if you were in the backyard playing like when we were younger. And we always dream about, yeah, when we get older, we want to play in the same team, because we watched my older brother play. And when we said, you know, I didn't think maybe I'd be here as a sophomore, but I mean, this is the second year and we just work together as a team.
They'll have to work even harder now because John is out for the rest of the ball game.
Sometimes a funny thing happens when one of their star guys, their key guy, goes down. Everybody's going to raise their level of intensity and performance, and who knows, this may be the impetus to get those guys moving offensively.
The tears are not for pain, but because he cannot come back. Late third, tie ball game. Hoover the ball carrier. Brought down from behind by Nick Sandy. Big time play for the Comets.
Great penetration there by Sandy.
A loss of 5.
As you see, Sandy split the seam there. They got through the two pulling guards. Eisenhower may be going back to their bread and butter a little too often. It doesn't seem like Grand Ledge is fooled anymore. That power sweep is not working.
So it's 2nd down and 15 now on a turning third quarter clock. Ball up to 27. Hoover the other way. Gets a couple of blocks, turns it upfield. Could not evade the final tackler, though. And a good play defensively for the Comets, Chad Esper. Let's get an update now from Mickey York.
Yeah, Fred, you're right. John is definitely done. Talked to his father, Frank, and he said John told him he heard something snap. He will not return to the ball game. Fred?
But yet the intestinal fortitude of that young man, seeing if there was some way, miraculously, they could tape him up so he could get back out there. What a helpless feeling it must be. Great football game, great drama in the Division I finale. 3rd and 7 at the 36. From the shotgun. Joe DiGiorgio to throw. Fires. Caught in traffic. Oh my, Jeff Hartman hung on despite 3 blue shirts around him.
Great throw, great catch. Here's Eisenhower coming out of their double slot formation. Watch Joe DiGiorgio finding Hartman on a little square in route. He gets right in the sweet spot of that zone, right in between, in front of the linebackers, in between the zones, and DiGiorgio sticks it right in there. Big time throw and catch.
What a big day Mr. Hartman has had, including his 80-yard return of a pick. 2 big catches as well in the second half. 1st and 10 Eagles with some breathing room near midfield. DiGiorgio to throw. Underneath. Batted into the air. Nearly intercepted. Joe Walshide got his big hand on it. And Luke Mullins almost picked it off.
You got to get the big fella's arms down. Looked like Ted Hendricks with the Mad Stork back in the Oakland Raiders days. All 6'7", and big Joe Wolshide doing a great job. You got to get his hands down as a defensive or as an offensive lineman. You got to get that defensive hands down of a player, especially as tall and as big as Wolshide.
That's 6'7", but you were exactly right. He looked like the Mad Stork. DiGiorgio, 4 of 7 throwing the football for 38 yards. 2nd down and 10. Again off the gun. Here comes pressure. Over the middle. Again to Hartman. He's brought down from behind by Colin O'Keefe. That's the coach's son.
I tell you that Hartman, He has a great feel for the center. Doesn't he work his way in there, Fred? Very nicely in between the cracks, finds the seam. He delays just enough to give those guys time to clear out, and then he comes across the middle. That's what really set up that play, his delay and finding out the timing inside the middle there.
And he's fearless to boot. 3rd down and 1. The Eagles need to get past the Grand Ledge 45-yard line. You would expect Hoover here. Grand Ledge almost jumping. Hoover does get it. No! It'll bring up a 4th down decision. Matt Cook brought him down. What do you do here, John?
Well, let's see how close that thing is.
Come on, Coach.
Hey, I'm a gambler, but I'll tell you right now, you know, if I'm playing in Michigan for Coach Shepard, we're punting the football.
But you don't want to get chewed out.
But now, if it were Gary Moeller, we'd be going for it, believe me.
They need less than a full yard. And the Eagles are going to go for it. Game could be on the line here. DiGiorgio wants to be able to hear. The sneak.
You got it.
First down,
Nice job there.
Used that front wall surge of Gummel and Hubbard and Carr. Rode their backs to a first down and moved the chains. And now Joe DiGiorgio is hurt. Oh my goodness. It's his left leg. Lower leg again.
I think it might be a cramp. It might be a cramp. A calf cramp.
Joe sticking his nose in there. All John DiGiorgio can do right now is watch. Ice on the leg. And again, the only thing would make him feel a little bit better would be an Eagle victory. Sure looks like a cramp to me.
Well, you know, Fred, you mentioned about those guys going both ways, especially Joe playing defensive back and quarterback, running all over the field this afternoon. They're not used to this heat. Again, this is a different climate than they'd be used to playing outside for how long. That takes its toll.
And part of the problem here for the Eagles, the backup quarterback for the Eagles is John DiGiorgio. And obviously he cannot come back in the ballgame. So Joe will hobble off to try to stretch it out. Brad Fetters, a rarely used junior, suddenly thrust into perhaps the biggest pressure cooker situation in his young life. Hasn't thrown a pass all year. He does wear a famous number, though, in Michigan history.
It was like Gordon Bell, wasn't it? Number 5? Hey, the key right here is getting the ball from center. Well, they're going in the shotgun, so that's going to hopefully they'll catch the ball. That's the key thing coming in cold like that. The first thing you got to do is make sure you get the ball from center.
Imagine the butterflies, though, in the stomach of that young man. I'm sure he thought he'd never have a chance because both the DiGiorgios have been knocked out. One for the rest of the day, the other temporarily. The drama continues to unfold in Pontiac.
All fans to stay in their seats so the award ceremony may begin immediately at the conclusion of the game.
We are tied here at the Silverdome. Don't forget, coming up later is the 11 p.m. Regional Sports Report, delivering 30 minutes of sports news dedicated to Detroit's home teams. The 11 p.m. Regional Sports Report tonight on Fox Sports Net, including a Joe Smith tremendous review for the Pistons last night. 1st and 10 at the 44. Joe DiGiorgio is back at QB from the shotgun. Hoover turns it up across the 40. Gain of about 5 where Matt Cook banged him down. Both teams have had difficult yards to come by on the ground. This will be the 9th play of the drive. Opening minute of the 4th and final quarter in a 7-7 game. DiGiorgio gets it to Hoover. Crashes across the 40 where Cook knocked him down. Cook, a senior linebacker for this club.
Hoover's earning his salt this quarter right now. I'll tell you, they're going him. He's their go-to guy as far as that running game goes.
Mike Ryswalski, we should note, the kicker for Eisenhower does have 50-yard range. So if the Eagles can get down to the 30, 33-yard line, it's possible we could see a boot. Hoover 13 for 66. 3rd and 5. Inside the 40. Low snap. Fielded by DiGiorgio. Throws it. The out intended for Thurman. Too tall for it.
Joe wishes he had that one back. Great call. Take a look here. Take a look. Just a little square out, little turnout that time. Nice job. Wide open. He definitely wants that one back.
So 4th and 5. Jason Croft will punt it for Eisenhower. We'll try to pooch it. Gets a good bounce. Oh, kept in bounds or no, touchback. Just broke the plane of the goal line.
I think we got a clip here.
Croft, a good effort. Yep, blocking the back by Grand Ledge. So that'll bring it back half the distance. We're at this stage of the game, John, every play call is magnified now, isn't it?
Really.
Or in high school football, you're going to expect mistakes. Like DiGiorgio missing a wide open receiver. Now they're going to call on an Eisenhower, are they? I don't see how.
It was a late flag. He threw that late, but it looked like it was an obvious clip.
Now watch the block in the back here. And boy, it also looked like Tynan had saved it from getting it into the end zone.
Well, we got a conference here.
The officials sorted out.
We got the Zebras at the 25-yard line.
Bob Lansing not too happy. Patrick O'Keefe.
This looks like the Florida election results down there.
Which means this will go to the Supreme Court somewhere. Obviously, one official had it one way, the other had it the other way. And now the Eagles are content it's going to go against Grand Ledge.
Well,
the final Chad has been punched here. Let's see what happens.
It's illegal use of the hands on a loose ball foul. It goes from the prior spot. It's 10 yards. It's Eisenhower's ball.
loose ball foul?
So Eisenhower gets to keep the football.
Yeah.
John, you're going to help me on that one.
Yeah, you know, next thing you know, we're going to have a legal defense. I'm not sure here.
Patrick O'Keefe is livid. Ike keeps the football. 1st and 10 at the 28. We'll try to get the exact ruling from the field. Eagles keep it on the ground. Nathan Bush, the ball carrier. His first carry. A rare one at that.
Nice job by Booth that time, just running that power sweep that they've been running so effectively. Set it up with his blockers, fouled him, cut back against the grain. Real good job for a guy who seldom carries the football.
Mickey York is working on it right now to find out the exact explanation of how Eisenhower keeps that football.
We may not be on the air long enough to get that one straightened out.
Well, the Eisenhower gang was looking for a break, and they have gotten one. 2nd down and 2 from the 20. DiGiorgio, the handoff to Hoover. Wrapped up. Got across the 20. But that's about it. Nick Sandy, whom we've called a lot today, made the stop.
Well, they've been banging Hoover outside on the power sweeps. That time they tried to go off tackle, and Grand Ledge was there to stop it.
Well, apparently the foul occurred before possession is what we're understanding. Thus, it reverted back to Eisenhower. Where we all thought the foul occurred after the kick.
Exactly.
Short of the 1st down by about a foot. Well, we understand the foul did occur before the possession change, but after the kick. So in that loose ball situation, Grand Ledge had not taken over yet. So they got to keep the football with the infraction. So the Eagles face a 3rd and 12 inches. DiGiorgio again on the keeper, and again a 1st down. They push him back, but his forward progress will be marked beyond the 18-yard line.
Again, a heads-up play, strong play, just following your big center. DiGiorgio, their senior, their leader, following their big guy, picking up obviously a monumental 1st down there to keep this drive alive.
Well, Grand Ledge enjoyed a big-time advantage in the time of possession of the 1st half. But Eisenhower has won the battle of the clock in the 2nd half. This is the 15th play of the drive coming up. It has already consumed over 7 minutes. 1st and 10 at the 17. Booth again. Has some blockers. Tries to swing it wide, but he's caught from behind. Good defensive play by Mike Holben. All right, Mickey, can you sort out the infraction?
I'll try, Fred. Apparently, nobody had possession of the football when the clip occurred, so they ruled it a loose ball foul. After they marked off the infraction, that gave Eisenhower a 1st down. That's why the Eagles ended up with the football.
All right, thank you, Dan Rather. Ball at the 19-yard line, a loss of 2. Again, they're easily in range of their field goal kicker, Griswolski, the All-Stater. But the Eagles want more. DiGiorgio, the rush. They got it. A loss back to the 27-yard line. Wolscheid was there, the big defensive end.
That was a broken play there, Fred. Somebody missed an assignment.
They got some help from Ryan Mitchell.
Take a look here. They tried to run a naked boot, but Wolscheid coming off the corner there was not fooled at all.
Now it shoves it back to the 27, which would make the field goal even more dicey. 2nd sack of the day for Grand Ledge. Bob Lanzey's hair getting grayer by the moment. 3rd and 20 for Ike. DiGiorgio with time. Almost caught from behind. Gets across the 25. Will take every inch he can get. A gain of 6. And Grzywolski will try to come in to untie things.
Great defensive pressure, great defensive secondary work there by Grand Ledge. Tribute Joe D, using his athleticism just to get back and pick up those 6 yards, forcing Eisenhower here in this field goal situation.
Grzywolski has managed to hit only a third of his kicks in this range, and he's to the wide hash marks to the left. From 48 yards, 38 yards, it's blocked. Grand Ledge stands tall. 7-7 it remains. Grzywolski had the right idea, but somebody got a hand in there. We'll see who when we come back. Comets take over. Well, if it's in the genes, Colin O'Keefe got his jumping ability from his dad, the coach Patrick.
Take a look at the coach's son right there.
Number 7 getting some ups. Getting a hand on that field goal try. Also deflecting it wide. So the young man, a 4-point student who may be going to an Ivy League school when he leaves Grand Ledge, comes up with a big play.
He figured the angle out on that field goal there, Fred.
Yeah. The hypotenuse.
Exactly.
Was figured in there. At the 20-yard line. Bonet throwing. Complete. Tim George, the man who caught the touchdown pass, caught the ball in a bump.
Bonet very lucky to not have that one picked off there. Watch Hartman in great position. He throws into a rolled up corner. Hartman is rolled up in a 2-deep coverage. He was right there. Very, very fortunate for Grand Ledge. That ball wasn't picked off. He'd have walked into the end zone.
Second down, less than a yard to go for Grand Ledge. Overtime, a real possibility here in Pontiac. Ball given a haul. No, nothing doing. Sarah got it.
Great penetration there by Sarah. Tremendous penetration. Nice little step around move. Take a look. There he is fighting off a black. Great play, sack for a loss.
So now it brings up a 3rd down and 3. Bonet not shy about throwing it in this situation. He's got trips to the left side. Bonet with time, steps up, has the first down. Lost the football, recovered by Hartman. Eagles have it.
Is that guy around the ball or what, Fred?
That man, Jeff Hartman. But Bonet did not protect the football.
Watch Bonet step back, make a move on a quarterback draw. The proverbial loaf of bread, stripped right there. Great play there defensively. Shane Crotty come up to strip that ball.
Sure did. Number 12, the sophomore on the reach-in, and then Hartman. Johnny on the spot. It was his interception in the first half.
First thing you learn once you cross that line of scrimmage, especially as a quarterback, is wrap up that ball.
Hartman's INT, the only 7 points on the board for Utica Eisenhower. They get it back at the 36. DiGiorgio to Hoover. Breaks a couple of tackles. Hoover, nobody does it like you. Touchdown. 36 yards.
You talk about some smash mouth football. Just a power sweep to the short side of the field. Hoover picking up and laying him down.
27th touchdown of the year for Chris Hoover, putting the Eagles in front.
You do not arm tackle Mr. Hoover. Take a look. Watch those guards get out in front. Now watch Hoover set up his block here, make a nice move. You have got to tackle that guy low. You are not going to stop him with an arm tackle.
And Grzywalski for the point after. 14-7 Utica Eisenhower. If they win it, the game ball will go to number 47. Enjoy it again.
Take a look here.
Chris Hoover turning to the outside, showing the speed. Now Ike has to return to try to close it out. Utica Eisenhower, 14-7 with a lead, 4.5 to play. First a turnover. Bonet coughs it up. Hartman recovers. That's what this team is made of. They've turned it over all year and picked them up. And then Hoover, who plays both ways, comes through big time. Wide open spaces into the end zone. And the points off turnovers, all of them in this game. 14 on the Utica Eisenhower side.
All those guys stepping up their game. When they saw their leader go down, they're all stepping up, especially number 27, right there, Hoover.
Grzywalski with a high, booming kick. And the Comets will have to start at their own 20-yard line. Superman has lost his cape.
How appropriate.
But his football team is in the lead by a touch. Great pictures today from our Fox Sports Net crew. In fact, all weekend. Trust us, all of us here at Fox Sports Net love doing this football stuff. It's just great action, great drama, each with a different story to tell. First and 10 at the 20, 4.5 to play. Hall, bang down at the 20. Robert Serra got him. Smacked him hard.
Serra's made 2 key plays on these last 2 drives. 2 big football plays.
You almost get a sense right now, John, that this entire Eagle team, not to get melodramatic, wanting to win it for their fallen star. As if they needed extra impetus in this ball game. Eisenhower still outgained by 29, but a disparity in the second half. Bonet to throw. Underneath. Caught by George, but they're awaiting him. Joe Silveri.
The big co-captain was not fooled. Great play. Way to fall back into the play, big fella. You read that one. Nice, very nice open field tackle.
So now it's a 3rd and 7 play call. In high school football, 3.5 is a lot of time. However, Grand Ledge has a long way to go. They've got to pick up a first down here. Bonet. Looking deep, in some trouble. Throws, has a man, caught! Across the 40-yard line. Chad Esper across midfield. Hello. The Comets marching right back.
They're not done yet. That play looked like you draw it up on the schoolyard. First it looked like a broken play and a little scrambling ability there. Bonet showing his athleticism, making a play. Great move there to buy some time. Stepping back, throwing across the grade. You had 2 guys wide open there on the left side.
And then John DiGiorgio, so helpless. A play he figures he would have made. All he can do is grit his teeth. At the 49. Ball given up. Hall almost broke that one. Dan Kiloszewski managed to one-arm him. A gain of 8. What a football game.
I'll tell you, all afternoon, I just had this feeling about Hall. He's just like a step away from breaking one.
He'll come off and get a breather. Lansing, the old-time defensive back at Northern Michigan. watching. Played his college football with Lloyd Carr. But now he's a bystander. Hoping his defense can hold as the time ticks away. Pass inside, incomplete, intended for George. Defended by Kelazewski.
Old Kelazewski was bearing down on George that time. He knew he was going to pay the price if he caught that football.
Heard footsteps. Kelazewski trying to fill the gaping hole left by the injured DiGiorgio. Each team with a full allotment of timeouts. Bonet now 12 for 22, throwing 159. That's why the Hawkeyes like him. Bonet, quick toss, caught by Esper, turns it up to the 35, gets a first down. John Tynan makes the stop for Utica Eisenhower.
Nice call there by Grand Ledge. A lot of composure, big third down play. Bonet steps up, throws a nice little swing pass to Esper. They pick up a huge first down.
It moves the chain, stops the clock. Now the clock is moving again. Under 150 to play. Plenty of time, though, for the Comets and a dangerous quarterback. Bonet buying some time. Up top. Caught inside the 5. DiGiorgio fell down. Ryan Mitchell hauled it in.
What a break there for Grand Ledge. You think maybe some fatigue starting to come in there with Big Joe? He was in excellent position. Take a look. Joe DiGiorgio, excellent position that time. Just coming off his shoulder, making a great catch.
30-yard play down to the 5. And the Comets are looking to tie things up, or perhaps even win it. Bonet rolling, looking, runs out of time, cuts it back, needs a block. Touchdown!
Big-time play by a big-time quarterback.
He does it with 53 ticks left on the clock. DiGiorgio probably didn't even see it. John, that is. Blocked out by his teammates.
Just a little soft roll to the right. Makes a great cut, reverses his field, and just dives for the end. That's all extra effort. Watch him dive for that end zone. You tell me he didn't want to get in the end zone?
Now the decision for Patrick O'Keefe. Do you go for the win? Colorado was faced with this same situation yesterday. Instead of kicking the tying point after, they went for the 2, got it, then Nebraska came back and won it with a field goal. What would you do here?
I think you got to kick it, Fred.
Take your chances in OT.
Yeah.
Knowing that that guy is not on the field. It's got to be an advantage for Grand Ledge.
Well, especially in the amount of guys that they have going both ways. For Eisenhower, it's got to help. I mean, they're a lot. You'd think they'd be a lot more fresh.
Watch it one more time. Bonet.
Just trying to do a roll, a bootleg. Great cut. Beats the pursuit back to the wide side of the field.
He is pretty good on his feet, isn't he?
Well, you figure he's the kind of quarterback that will beat you with his arm, but he has really shown some great athletic ability this afternoon, beating people with his feet.
And Adam Carr could not get him in time. Patrick O'Keefe, in fact, asking his team, we understand, whether they wanted to go for 2 or not. Nick Sandy, their kicker, is 45 out of 50 this year, as Bonet needs to wipe some of the sweat out of his eyes.
See, the problem with that is, those guys are going to say they want to go for 2.
Oh, sure.
I think, with the emotion and as confident as they are now offensively, making that big drive to possibly tie this football game up in the state championship, they're going to try and say, hey, let's go for 2. But I think cooler heads probably would prevail and have them kick that extra point.
And take their chances in OT. Well, Bonet showing the leadership, and Patrick O'Keefe, who has enjoyed watching him and coaching him, says he's the best.
Very competitive, 3-sport star in football, basketball, and baseball. And so he's being heavily recruited by University of Iowa, and so he has a lot of interest. But he's a very athletic kid and makes things happen out there on the field for us.
Now, can he make it happen on a daring decision? After this 80-yard drive, the game could ride on the balance of a 2-point conversion.
You better have something in this bag of tricks.
14-13. Eisenhower. We got another timeout this time. Eisenhower calls it. Wow.
Well, there's some gamesmanship going on right now.
In overtime, in case you're wondering, if they were to kick the point, each team would get possession from the 10-yard line. In a 1st and goal situation, a coin toss would determine who would start first. 4 downs from the 10. And of course, the defense can score except on extra points until we get a winner.
We haven't had one out here these last couple of days yet.
Have not, but it would be justice if this game did go to overtime, as how evenly matched these two teams have been. Both schools have drawn terrific crowds. I mean, both of the sides of the field, lower deck virtually filled. What must be going through the mind right now of John DiGiorgio, their all-time leading tackler, with Dad alongside. And DiGiorgio has never missed a game. He's been a solid rock for Bob Lansing. Here we go. From the 3-yard line. The Big School Championship may very well come down to this play. If Grand Ledge makes it, they take the lead.
I got a feeling you got to live or die with Bonet. You got to roll him out. You either go down with your horse. Either he gets it or he doesn't.
White knuckle time. Bonet rolling out, has a man. Has to cut it back. No! He stopped! Eisenhower dodges the bullet!
How about that one? Here's Bonet just running a bootleg, roll out to the right. He tries to reverse his field, similar to what he did when he scored a touchdown on the previous play. Eisenhower stayed home. He was not able to get in. No one's open. Great coverage there to the field. Bonet makes a cut. Unable to score. That defense stayed home.
Dan Kelazewski was in on the play. DiGiorgio's replacement helped stack it up.
You credit the coverage there for Eisenhower.
Now I wonder if Patrick O'Keefe would love to have this play back. That's 20/20 hindsight.
That's easy up here, but
in on that play, baby. 14-13 could be a magical score in Eagle football history. Here today and a week ago, they beat Catholic Central by that same score. Now you can bet an onside kick, John.
Yep, here it comes.
Look out! They got it! Oh my! Grand Ledge has the football! Perfectly run, Colin O'Keefe.
The second big play that Colin O'Keefe has made.
Wonder if Dad and son worked on that in the backyard once upon a time. Just like it was drawn up. Unbelievable. Did it go 10? It sure looked like it.
You just can't advance it, though.
Take another look from this angle. This is amazing.
Oh.
Where he landed, it went 10 plus, but where he grabbed it, did it.
Where he took off from. Watch this.
They're going to give it to the Comets.
Oh, boy.
Can you believe this?
You can't advance that.
So the ball at the 48-yard line, let's call it 53 seconds to go.
You talk about a perfectly executed onside kick. That ball popped up late, just the way you draw it up.
The Comets have kicked 4 field goals all year, but they have it back. This is unbelievable. Bonet caught George. He's lassoed down, though, at the 45-yard line.
He's getting them lined up right now. They're in their hurry offense.
Tynan made the play after a gain of 3. Clock continues to tick. Comets do have 2 timeouts left. Bonet running out of time. Throws deep. Caught. George. Oh my! Touchdown! Comets. Unbelievable.
Another broken play. Unbelievable. Watch Bonet now. Watch the athleticism of Bonet. There's Bonet back in the pocket. He's pressured. He rolls right. A breakdown in the coverage. You got to stay on the hash. You have got to stay on the hash as a safety. Great patience. Great patience.
The onside kick, and then Tim George with his second touchdown grab of the day. Numbers 4 and 5 this season. And look at him get it inside the pylon for the 6.
Great effort by George. That was all set up by his patience. He stood there until Bonet was able to find him.
Man, you couldn't script it any better than this. 22 seconds to play. At a 19-14 lead. And now, most assuredly, the kick this time for the extra point. Look at the day that young man has had.
You will not forget this one.
A senior ending his football career.
I'll tell you, Bonet, you cannot relax with that guy 1 second.
The problem is, can Bob Lansing cook up something in such a short period of time?
What would it take, 33 seconds?
Oh, what do I know? They're going to go for 2 here. They want to try to make it a 7-point game as opposed to 6. Some movement on the Comet side. That's the flag. This is going to come back. He gets in, but I would imagine the movement will cost him foul.
Illegal motion. Offense. 5 yards.
Take a look.
You saw Esper, the one who moved forward. He got the football.
That was well conceived. 2-point play. That was a lot better than the one they tried the first time.
We're going to milk this baby for every ounce of excitement that we can. Bonet now from the 8. Quick look into wall shot. No. brought down. So it's a 5-point game. 22 seconds with which to work. You know, maybe a reverse of the kickoff, who knows?
We saw a couple of those that were effective yesterday, yeah. Well, remember the Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills last year in the playoffs, Fred. You know, they got to have something in their tricks for a situation like this.
Well, Eisenhower has one timeout left, and DiGiorgio does have a gun. But I would think they're going to have to get it near midfield to give him a shot.
Well, and obviously a field goal's not going to help, so they have to get in the end zone.
Again, we mentioned Grzywalski does have a field goal in excess of 50. But the Eagles are a long way from getting down near the 30. Hoover will be back there, presumably. Number 27. Along with DiGiorgio. So Sandy to kick it away. His onside kick, as would open the door for the Comets. And then George finished it off with a touchdown catch. Hoover wanted it. They flip it to DiGiorgio.
There you go.
Stays on his feet. But it burns some valuable time. 14 seconds. So a chance really for a couple of plays here. Shotgun. Joe to throw. Runs out of time. Coughed up. Loose football. Joe Walshide recovered. Good night, Eagles. Hello, State Championship, Grand Ledge. Boy, the proverbial, you hate to see one team go down to defeat, applying here. But somebody did have to lose this thing.
Take a look here.
Steve Dick is the man who got him. And then Walshide plucking it off the carpet. And the Eagles helpless here. Walshide taking the knee. Final seconds tick away. Grand Ledge has won the Division I championship. An extra pain for John DiGiorgio. On top of a broken bone. And the emotions let loose for the Comets. Not only in a title game, but the way they had to go about doing it.
Give them credit, boy. They did what they had to do. They made that big drive and their backs were against the wall, Fred. Just how you draw it up in a championship game. They had to go 70 yards to score, and they did. And then they got a second chance when they missed the extra point. They have to execute a perfectly executed onside kick. They come up with a tremendous series of plays.
Yep, the onside kick turned out to be the difference in this football game. A matter of inches. The coach's son recovering it in midair. What a football game. 19-14. It's going to take a while before somebody can let the air out of this Pontiac Silverdome balloon. We'll sort out the trophies when we return. A 19-14 final. Grand Ledge, the state champions of Division I, all because of a raucous finish to this one. Fourth quarter, Chris Hoover takes it to the house, 14-7 Eisenhower.
I tell you, right there, you think that Eisenhower has this game under control. They're up 14-7. Great play by Hoover.
But Grand Ledge comes back. Bonet on the run, buying time and getting into the end zone himself.
He'll beat you with his arm, he'll beat you with his feet. What an effort laying out to get into that end zone.
They went for a 2-point conversion, failed. The onside kick, their only hope. And how about this? Colin O'Keefe setting up this bomb to George.
George coming in there making 2 key plays. Again, watch him get to the end zone.
And as a result, Bob Lansing has to settle for second place, while Patrick O'Keefe gets the one that says Football Champions Division I. And about as good a football finish as you'll ever want to see, no matter what level you're talking about. Bonet, certainly the hero, one of many for the Comets. And O'Keefe, who has done this twice as a baseball coach for Grand Ledge, gets to do it pigskin style. Let's head down to Mickey York.
All right, Fred, thank you very much. Coach O'Keefe, have you ever been on an emotional roller coaster like the one you were on the last minute of that football game?
I've been in this business 34 years, and that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. A bunch of kids that can bail out their coach when he makes the wrong call, and they had the belief in themselves. And just like when I told them about Khe Sanh up in the Vietnam War, when 6,500 Marines were surrounded by 20,000 NBA, and they came off of that mountaintop, and our kids did today too.
You talk about kids bailing out the coach. Your own kid bailed you out. He made a heck of a play on the onside kick.
Well, I told Nick Sandy that I'm going to adopt him if his mom and dad don't, because it wasn't that I didn't have confidence in him. It was just that we were so tired that I thought we had to seize the moment to come back the way we did and everything after getting back down. And I just felt that Matt would take us there, and when it didn't work out, the kids certainly saved me.
What about the performance by Matt Bonet today?
Well, he's done that for us all year long, and he's just a fantastic player, and he and the seniors just came through when they had to.
Here he is right here, Matt. You're a state champion. How's it feel?
This is a dream come true. We've all worked so hard for this, and really no words can describe how I'm feeling right now. I'm tired. I can't feel any pain. This is the greatest thing in the world right now.
Did you have any idea your coach was screaming for a timeout on that touchdown run that made it 14-13?
I couldn't hear anything. It was so loud in here and everything. It just the adrenaline was going. It was nuts. It was a great game.
Did you talk coach into going for 2 there at the end of the game? Did he want to go for 1?
I think everybody wanted to go for 2. We went for it all year. You know, we've attempted different things, and we decided that's how we got here, so we're going to go for it. You know, lose ourselves.
Matt, congratulations. Great performance today. Grand Ledge, their first ever state championship. Brett?
All right, Mick, thank goodness for VCRs, because at the Bonet family home, that thing, make some extra copies, I think.
I'll tell you, that's what it's all about. I mean, you couldn't have drawn up a greater high school football game. And these kids will remember this and cherish this the rest of their life. And, you know, hats off to both teams, especially Eisenhower. They coming back. It's tough 2 years in a row, but they played their hearts out. Even when their tough guy, Big John, had to be on the sidelines and watch this.
Yeah, for Eisenhower, perhaps the baddest break of all, the broken leg by DiGiorgio, and the comeback kids couldn't quite pull it off, falling short. Our next game is in Division 5 as Spring Lake tangles with Jackson Lumen Christi. Coverage beginning at 5 p.m. Now for John Wagler and Mickey York, I'm Fred McLeod saying so long from the Silverdome. Once again, our final score in a real heart pounder. Grand Ledge 19, Eisenhower 14. You've been watching high school football on Fox Sports Net, your exclusive television home of MHSAA football and basketball championships. We'll see you back here at 5 o'clock. Now stay tuned for Wolverine Magazine coming up next.